Seriously. Seriously.
Oh,
Max. This could be the death knell in the BTC coffin. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Let me just share with everyone what my thumbnail is going to be for today's show, and that'll draw a little bit of context. Here we go. Today, we're going to talk about ordinals. Now, ladies and gentlemen, up until yesterday, I had no idea what ordinals was, but then Max shared it with me and gave me a few links, and I did my own research. And oh my gosh, the look on my face is like, are you kidding me? So, but this that's going to be the latter part of the show, ladies and gentlemen. The latter part of the show. The first part of the show, we're going to clear up a lot of fog that's out there related to our wallets, GUI wallets, Veet, Epic Pay, how they all communicate. With me, special returning guest, Sky King, legend. He came to us through SGT report. Goodness, I don't know. Was that about a year ago, Sky? I think, but it maybe even less. But you've just been a rock star ever since you've been in. You came in and just said, "Hey, put me in. Where do you need me?" And you landed with our tech team and have added a tremendous amount of value. So thank you for your service. Welcome to the show. And literally, the floor is yours as far as how we want to start this conversation to educate everyone.
Well, thanks. And yeah, SGT, that interview was done July 15th. So it's been 7 months.
Jeez, that's amazing. If we got as much output from every single new member over the last 7 months as you, I think we'd be at $100,000 a coin right now. I'm just saying, it's amazing.
Well, for people to do that, they need to be a retired old fart. So,
by the way, Max Freeman on the line. Welcome to the show.
Yeah. So we want to do where are we at with all the neat techie stuff that's going on in the background?
Well, you know what I'd like for you to just give us maybe a couple minute overview of your journey from when you landed within Epic to how it evolved to where you're at the place you are today. Just what that journey looked like and along the way, you know, what you started working on and that might help.
Yeah, well, it actually started with me just hanging out on Telegram group, and I sort of gravitated to the help desk because that was part of what my IT background was in doing, technical development and technical help support desk type activities. Mm-hmm. And of course, for me to get up to speed on something, I took the usual deep dive into what is Epic, how does it work, and I immediately went towards downloading all the versions of the wallets, trying them out on, Linux and trying out the server and downloading code from GitHub and actually building stuff and just having a good old time playing with all of that. And that didn't take too long to get up to speed to the point where I started understanding how everything worked, and especially for new people, because I used to specialize in helping new people figure out how to use something on a newbie level. Translate the geeky technical stuff to real English so that new users could figure it out, hold their hand, make it easy, try not to be intimidating. And so I started seeing that going on in the help desk. And so I just naturally gravitated toward the help desk and started answering questions. And when you do that, sometimes to answer a question, you have to go to a different technical group in Telegram and start asking your own questions of those who know more than you.
Right.
And, that becomes a journey in knowledge gathering so that I had the chops to go back over to the help desk and actually sound like I knew what I was talking about.
Perfect.
And one thing led to another, and I got deeper into some of the other groups, like in labs,
Mm.
and that got me deeper into the more of the technical background of it. And then I started seeing where as a community and as a project, there were knowing where we wanted to go, but where we were at, all of a sudden you see all these needs, all these areas that
Right.
were screaming for resource, for help, for give us a hand, grab that oar, start
Yep.
pulling.
Yep.
So I automatically gravitated towards some different projects. I have a background in PHP development, and so I saw some quick projects I could do some quick app development with, and did that.
Mm.
And so now we're at a point where one of the things that I saw a big need in when I was working with the help desk and saw all the people struggling with the whole ngrok thing and HTTP and port forwarding and
stuff that just goes right over.
yeah, it went right over everybody's head. It seemed too difficult because a lot of these people are coming from a traditional crypto background, where they download an app on their wallet, they hit send, they hit receive, they're done. And we're not quite there yet. So, or we weren't, a couple of months ago when I saw the need was the greatest. And so through talking with some of the other developers, Pool Boy and Black Tiger, I discovered that there was this cool thing called Epic Box, and but it had kind of languished for a while. So some people say that I took over the project as a project manager or as a coordinator. I really took over the project as the local Karen. I was jumping up and down, waving my arms, and just running my mouth off that we got to get this done yesterday. And so a little friendly pushing in a lot of different directions got some people going. And of course, they knew that the need for that was there as well. Yeah. I think it just needed someone to just, gather everybody together and say, come on, let's just make a push and get this done, because there are big things coming down the road and we frankly are not ready. And if we get this done, we will be ready. And, I'm pretty excited and pretty happy to say that as of today, we are very, very close to being ready.
That's amazing. So we might have to retire Karen for a while, or distract her on another project.
Yeah, she can end up being a real pain. So maybe it's time to move on to George or something.
Well, give us the macro then. So you're at a place where Karen's starting to just take a deep breath. And what is it? What was the destination that you were when you said, hey guys, let's just row in that direction together? Right. And now you're kind of at the beachhead. So what's there? What's there? What should we learn today from you?
Well, this is all about, in order for this to really go global, and be adopted by the masses.
By this, you're referring to Epic Cash.
Epic Cash, right? Because that is the foundational.
That's right.
Part of all the rest of the good stuff that's in the project overall.
Yes.
And for that to be adopted on a global scale, it needs to be stupid simple,
right,
to use.
Yes.
In other words, you have to have a desktop wallet, you have to have a mobile wallet, and those have to not only talk to each other, but they also have to talk to an exchange back and forth, like any other crypto product would. Mm-hmm. And because of the way we had developed organically from the Mimblewimble grin code that wasn't quite there when we were looking at expanding. So we had to have that foundational structure in place, and EpicBox allows us to do that because it provides a more traditional looking wallet address, and you don't have to have the other wallet online at the same time that you're sending
Great.
for them to receive. And it's all done through the EpicBox, which is just a server that relays information. When you do a transaction, you're basically relaying a piece of information from your wallet to somebody else's wallet. So now we've got EpicBox in the middle, so it can hold your transaction until the receiver decides to start their wallet and come online and get their transaction.
Can you real quickly please explain pre-EpicBox, like a year ago, if somebody wanted to be able to send somebody Epic on the protocol, the native blockchain, because of Mimblewimble, explain that process, what would have to happen, and then I think this all will start to make sense to people who are newbies, or just might not be smart enough like I'm not to understand.
Right. Well, with the HTTP, the receiving wallet has to be online and listening for your wallet to actually send the transaction, and that's a one-to-one, a peer-to-peer, so it goes straight to the other wallet.
Okay.
Then their wallet would accept it and say, okay, this is good, I'm going to send you a confirmation that I received, and then they send it back. So your wallet has to stay online in order to receive the confirmation. So
it's
once you get it,
it's a ping pong ping.
It's ping pong ping, right?
Okay.
Yep. And then when you get the confirmation, you say, oh, cool, he got it. I can now finalize it and shove it off to the blockchain, and we're done.
Great. Okay.
So, but with the HTTP, it's based on knowing where your wallet is. And, everybody pretty much on a desktop or even on a mobile using Wi-Fi, I mean, you're behind usually a router, and so it becomes technically difficult for one wallet to know where the other wallet is.
Okay.
And that's the beauty of, the whole Mimblewimble and the privacy security part of it, but it provides a challenge in that it's hard to get from point A to point B.
Exactly. So you get the benefits of the Mimblewimble protocol, which enhances which it provides our privacy, right? But it's hard. It's hard to be able, as they say, I say this all the time, it's easy to make things hard, but it's hard to make things simple. I think that's Steve Jobs' quote. But Mimblewimble was very hard. So you and the team's quest to be able to make it easy ultimately would require the invention of and the use of what we are calling EpicBox. Do I have that right?
Correct. Yes. Okay. EpicBox provides a middleman between the two wallets. Yeah. And some people say, oh, well, we don't need third party. That's not a good idea. Well, that third party EpicBox server is run by our own community people. We have 4 running right now. We have 1 for Americas, 1 for Asia, and 1 for Europe. And I just brought a 4th one online last night, mostly for testing. That's also in the US.
Great.
And it's just a temporary hold for your encrypted transaction until the other wallet comes online to grab their part. Yes. Think of it, the easiest way to explain how the whole EpicBox transaction thing works is it's exactly like email. If you
love
have
it.
an email, yeah, if you have an email, say your wallet is assigned to or the US Epic Box server, and you're
Yeah.
going to send to somebody else who's on the Epic Box server, then your transaction goes to that server and it sits there until the other person starts their wallet and checks in, and it says, oh, I've got email for you. You've got mail.
Yeah.
And it
You've
then
got Epic.
collects, you've got Epic. And that it collects the transaction, and then just like you would reply to somebody's email message where it says reply to, and you hit the reply button on your email, your wallet is now replying back to the sender with a confirmation. Then the sender comes online to the same server, says, hey, do I have any mail? Yeah, well, here, pick up this. This is a confirmation from, Sally that you sent some Epic to, an hour ago, a day ago. And you pick up the confirmation, you do a finalization, and then it goes on the blockchain and you're done.
Okay.
So
I have one clarification here, a couple points of clarification that I need answered. You say you need to do this, you need to do that, but I think this all happens behind the scenes. I think if I send you 10 Epic right now, and then I just put my phone away, and you don't get to it until this evening, when you open up your wallet, you check and say, yeah, I have 10 confirmation or 10 Epic, and you put your wallet away. Now, the next time I open but you didn't have to say, oh, let me send my email back and reply, right? The wallet does that. Okay, so then when that confirmation comes back to me, I don't have to worry about anything. It's just when I come back online, then when I come back online, it settles to the blockchain. Is that correct?
Correct.
But
yeah,
I don't have to accept it and say, hey, this is cool. Ping, pong, ping. The only thing I have to worry about is the ping. The only thing you have to worry about is the open, the pong. But the final ping happens magically through Epic Box, right?
Right. All the mechanics of the transaction are happening, as you said, on the back end. It's just a matter of the wallet checking in with the relay server.
Yes.
The man in the middle, the Epic Box server, to see if they have anything to pick up. And if they do, it's automatically generating that confirmation that goes straight back.
Yes.
And then the sender, the next time they come on, they check in and look for any mail or transaction that they have. They pick it up, finalize it, and it goes onto the blockchain.
Well, this is a BFD, in my opinion. Now, let me ask you this. Does this Epic Box allow someone's GUI to communicate with somebody's Epic Pay? Because right now it's like Epic Pay can only send and receive to somebody else's Epic Pay, or can someone from Vite transfer their coins to somebody's Epic Pay? Don't have to go through a GUI, all blah, blah, blah. Does this make all of that pain go away?
It does indeed, because when Cypher, when CipherStack created the Stack wallet and the Epic Pay wallet, they looked at Epic Box and took that model and did something quite similar called Epic Post, so they could get their product up and running quickly.
Yes.
So they're already most of the way there, because they were following the same methodology for them to be able to do transactions back and forth. So they are very close, within days, I would say right now, of finishing the conversion of Epic Post to Epic Box. So now that we're all speaking the same language and using the same transport method, we are very close to having GUI wallet talk directly to Stack and Epic Pay wallet. And then the third part of the trifecta is, of course, talking to exchanges, and we will have VGate using the CLI wallet, which is what they use in order to send and receive. And they will then adopt the new version of the CLI wallet, and that Quai wallet will still be able to do HTTP transfers the old way, but it'll also be able to do Epic Box at the same time.
Now, what about our upcoming relationship with CoinStore, another exchange? They're going to have to integrate Epic Pay into their integration.
Right. Yeah, CoinStore and Change Now will also, in order to send and receive and talk to our wallets, either the desktop GUI or the mobile wallets, they're going to be using the same CLI wallet through what we call API calls, and they're going to be supporting the Epic Box version of the transfer right out of the gate. They probably won't even use HTTP. They'll go straight to Epic Box because it's the easiest thing to use.
Max Freeman, you're on the line. What kind of a game changer is this?
Well, so right now, if you want to go from GUI to Vite to Epic Pay and on vice versa, we get a lot of people on the help desk, and the answer is, you could do it, but it would be these 27 complicated steps, and it's going to take a while, and it's error prone and stressful. And most people are like, oh, let's just wait. Now, the answer is click here, boom, done. This is the major milestone of all the stuff talking to each other.
Yeah, because I remember a little over a year ago, when we started we were talking about how the world's going to change when V3 comes out, and then the world's going to change when GUI wallet's updated, and the world's going to change when we have an Epic Pay type wallet or mobile wallet and everything. It's all coming together now, and I hope everybody appreciates that it is just it's like been such a grind over the last 2 years, and we're like reaching the summit. I mean, we're about ready to plant a flag, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, we just released GUI version 5.
Yeah.
So when we released version E3 of the protocol, that coincided with GUI V3, and then we shipped a bunch of updates. Shout out to Poolboy for version 4 pretty quickly. And then what we do is harvest the user queries of the issues that people are having in the help desk or what we see in the chats. I'm looking at the Epic Pay 2.0 wish list, and there's about 60 different features and tweaks and making it slightly better. And of course, bugs, there's been hundreds of those that we've quashed. So just as Epic Pay came out of the gate, we're up over 250 5-star reviews, by the way, which is awesome. Epic Pay benefits from the work that went into Stack Wallet because it's completely open source. Everything based on GUI, on CLI, all this stuff. Anybody can take anything and remix it. That if you haven't been to giverofepic.com and seen the faucet that Black Tiger and Richard Mace are working on, we've really been head down building, ignoring all the noise.
Hey,
so you
speaking of noise, and I'm not going to classify this as noise, forgive me, but you and I have a shared friend who wants to be able to pay someone in Epic, and the whole process was very frustrating for him because it didn't seem to be happening as it logically should have. Can you address, does that mean that we suck and we fail, or is that part of being part of a beta and plan, do, review? I just want to be clear with everyone. We're nowhere near where we're going to be, but we are a hell of a lot further than where we were, and the best step towards, positive achievement is your next one. Right. And that's what this whole process is all about. People like Sky King aren't just sitting back, putting his feet on the desk. He's being a Karen. But I just want I want you to explain how we find the bugs, and don't you have to take the next steps to be able to clear things up? I know when we did
So
we did the giveaways.
So let's say there's 1 out of every 10,000 people has a problem, and there's 1 million users or usages, then you have 10,000 angry people. Well, a lot of times in software development, just as we saw with, for example, the VGate wallet situation, VGate, we could have pushed, had they been willing, they could have pushed Epic Box a long time ago, but they said, guys, we need to have you kind of fix this because we're restarting our wallet or our software all the time, because with 40,000 transactions here on our device, it's taking 20 seconds to generate a transaction, which is far too long. So we had to go overhaul the wallet software completely. Now, VGate was the only user in our entire network that had that many transactions. So they were the only ones experiencing those issues, but they also really mattered because they are the heaviest volume user on the network. So you have 99.9% of people that are like, hey, this thing's amazing, it works great. What do you mean you have a problem? And then those guys are like, this is horrible, it's unusable, fix it, please. And so since we have to serve everybody, we need to cover all. And so whenever anybody experiences an issue and takes the time to engage, whether it's help desk or mining or any of the local language groups, you're really doing a service and helping us understand how to improve that, because all software has bugs, especially that written by humans, even that written by Chat GPT. I mean, you can't cover everything, and that's why it's an iterative process. So we're already well underway on Epic Pay 2.0. After that, the wish list will accumulate for 3.0, and we'll keep knocking it out. We'll be on a very, very fast staccato rat-a-tat development cycle, because as we've mentioned many times before, our investment upfront in tooling and testing and documentation in the right kind of structure to support large-scale parallel development has really been there. You mentioned it's been 2 years. I posted the first version of the EUSD white paper back in December 2018, and then we launched the testnet in April of 2019 and mainnet in September 2019. So what people are just now discovering today and going, hey, this thing is pretty good, is not one big thing. Oh, wow, now we're there. Yeah. It's 1,000, tens of thousands of tiny things that accumulate from individuals with their oar in the water, rowing and pulling every day. So this is really the sausage making at work here.
Labor pains. Sky King, I'm a visual guy. Can you please pull up the graphic that you shared just prior to the show and walk us through it about Epic Pay?
Yeah, I'll pull that right up. Here we go.
Okay, thank you. There we go. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Where do we begin?
This is some magic from our good friend Spencer, who cranked this out yesterday. Yeah. And this is graphical of how your transaction goes in Epic Box now. And as you can see, it's, if you know anything about email, you know basically that, when you sign up for email, you're attached to an email server someplace, usually at your ISP or at Gmail. Right. And so when you send somebody email message and they're on Gmail and you're on Gmail, your message goes to the Gmail server and sits there until their email program goes and checks their mail and then pulls mail off of the server. Mm-hmm. So in Epic Box, and if you're sending to somebody that's on a different server, instead of Gmail, you're sending to somebody that's like AOL.com, if people still use that.
Oh, there's lots of AOL maxis out there.
I know. I have a lot of AOL address book entries in mine. But if you're going to AOL, the Gmail server is going to say, oh, this isn't for me, and it will relay that email message over to the AOL server, where it will sit until the AOL person looks for their mail on that server. So what you see here is basically the exact same methodology for an Epic transaction between two wallets.
Okay.
So you have the sender.
Yep.
sending off, and they're going to send to somebody on the same Epic Box server. So let's say it's epicbox.epic.tech, which serves the Americas.
Okay.
So you're sending to somebody that's in the US or in Mexico, and it goes and it's going to sit on this server.
Let me raise my
waiting.
hand. Let me raise my
Yep.
hand. Does
Yep.
this introduce another little speed bump, which I now need to know if I'm sending it to somebody in the US or somewhere else? Do I have to ask that question?
No, you don't, because when they send you their Epic Box or their Epic address,
Yes.
the address that's going to receive the transaction,
Perfect.
it's composed of two parts. The first part is a 52 character, bunch of gobbledygook characters, which is their public key. And then it says @ and then it gives a domain name or like a web server address, epicbox.fastepic.eu. That happens to be the one in Europe.
Okay.
Or epicbox.epic.tech. So it looks just like an email address. Instead of george@aol.com, it's your
Blah, 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 blah.
your gobbledygook and then it gives the address of the server that the transaction is going to end up at. So when they send you that address, your wallet is going to ship it off, and it's going to go to your Epic Box server here, and it's going to look at the @whoever part, and it's going to say, oh, this is for me. And it'll just sit there waiting for the receiver over here to come online and check in and say, oh, I've got a transaction waiting for me. Process it, create the confirmation, send it back to that same server.
Yep.
Where it will sit waiting for me to check back in again.
Okay.
And I will say, oh, I've got something for me. It's a confirmation from Sally over here. So I'm going to grab that confirmation and I'm going to finalize it. And then I'm going to send it down here to the blockchain and we're done. Now, the only difference in this diagram right here, if you were sending to Sally, but she was in Europe on the Europe Epic Box, then there would be another picture of an Epic Box right here, and your home Epic Box would relay the transaction to the other Epic Box based on what was in the address, because it said, oh, this is going to fastepic.eu instead of epic.tech. So it would go and sit on the other relay server until the receiver checked in on that server. So we are going to end up at some point probably with, just like we have all of these Epic nodes all over the world, we could end up with multiple Epic Box servers, each one covering a certain local region. So we might have an Epic Box in every state. We might have an Epic Box in every country. And they would simply talk to each other based on their address. Hey, you don't have to worry about it.
Let me ask you this, Max. One of the things I've heard you say is, it's like impossible to lose your Epic Cash coins. Can you put that back up just so we can take a look at this, please, Sky?
Yep.
But Max, can you talk about like what could go wrong here to where someone might freak out and say, hey, I sent, Molly 100 Epic and she hasn't received it and right?
Yeah, you can't lose coins. So a transaction either completes or it can be canceled and unwound. So it is fundamentally impossible to lose coins in Epic, like it is other chains.
To dumb it down for me, this top part of this graphic, anything, it should go seamlessly, but if it doesn't, and I sent the 100 coins in my wallet, if Molly says, I never received it. It's stuck somewhere or whatever. I can then, it never gets to the bottom part until
Correct.
I approve it. So I just simply cancel that transaction.
Correct.
And we try it again. Okay. And that is because of the power of what? Mimblewimble?
Mimblewimble. Yes.
Okay. Why? What does Mimblewimble do to allow me
So
to?
Mimblewimble, so other pre-Mimblewimble blockchains, the way it works is if I generate a transaction and send it to an address, maybe I put a 6 instead of a 7 at the end of the address. Fat finger, copy paste issue, dust on the hard drive, whatever. If I send it to that address and it happens to be wrong, once I've sent, it's done. It's a one-step process. In Mimblewimble, there are no addresses. All transactions are constructed interactively, wallet to wallet, in a multi-step process that requires handshaking. So unless it gets through all of those 6 steps, it doesn't complete and it can be unwound. So it's atomic in the sense of, like, you know, if you have a BTC to LTC atomic swap or something, one side gets their coins, or either both sides gets their coins, or none of them, neither side gets them, nobody can lose money. This takes that same principle and applies it to sends. So yeah, it is fundamentally impossible to lose coins by sending to the wrong address. It's just, it cannot ever happen. And if you think you're seeing that in your wallet, then you've got probably, or no, you've got a display bug. And what would be really helpful is if you send screenshots through the help desk, and they may ask you for logs. Nobody will ever ask you for your seed words or your private key, so don't give that up. But if you're experiencing something that looks funky, and you found some edge case that we need to go and sandpaper off the rough edges, then please do us a service and send that through.
Perfect. Okay. In summary, Sky King, you and the team are kicking butt, and we are making great strides, and we're really close to having this done. Thank you for that update. I know we have 20 minutes. We were a little late, so we're going to go a little over past 1 o'clock, but I do want to share my screen. And this is just a quick, who is this guy? We're going to talk about this here pretty soon. But this, when I titled this, could this be the death knell in BTC? Oh goodness, I lost where's my darn? I hate this when this happens. I can't find my, okay, there we go. I found my mouse. I want to start off by saying that Max asked me yesterday about, what was my knowledge level of ordinals. And I'm like, what's an ordinal? And he said, okay, you're a 1. Well, apparently
that's a 0.
or 0. Right. Ordinals gain momentum with 76,000 NFTs minted to Bitcoin. Now, I'm not gonna dive into that yet, Max, because I want to show a different screen as well. Because okay, think about this: ordinals gain momentum with 76,000 NFTs minted to Bitcoin. Ordinals, despite pushback from Bitcoin purists, ordinals, the NFT-like project on the Bitcoin blockchain, now shows no sign of slowing, as over 76,000 inscriptions have been created to date. The number of ordinals spiked in February, on February 9th, exceeding 20,800 inscriptions for a single day. Now, we're going to learn all about this, but I want to show you this one right here. Bitcoin, this was Cointelegraph. Bitcoin ordinals creator looks for fix after first instance of shock porn. A rather unsavory image made it to the front page of the ordinals website for 30 minutes before it was hit. However, the image itself is unmutable. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to go back to this guy. And I just want to let you know that this guy at some point in time posted somewhere, I don't know, but it became like one of the most major memes in all of crypto history. And look, you're all adults here. If you have kids that are listening, just plug their ears. But this guy just bent over, spread his butt cheeks, and exposed everything within, and just plastered it everywhere. And so this was the image. You can use your imagination. All you need to do is go to search for Reddit and the goatsy image, and you'll be able to see it. But I warn you, you will never be able to unsee it. So don't do that unless you have a pretty healthy stomach and you don't throw up in the back of your mouth too easily. Max, please explain to us. So the Bitcoin blockchain is now going to become a bitporn blockchain. I mean, what is what is an ordinal, or just educate us?
I thought you'd never ask. Oh, this is going to be fun. Oh boy. Okay. So this is ordinals. Seems pretty, ordinals.com seems pretty innocuous. Oh, wow. There's monkeys and Steve Jobs. This sounds cool. I want to put my NFT there. There's been 107,000 of these people. So what ordinals is BTC, Bitcoin Core developers have been piling up, in my opinion, poor decisions as far as how they're leading the ship over and over and over, and they're painting themselves steadily closer and closer to the corner, and they're running out of floor, and they're starting to see the consequences of that. Another great quote is that you can ignore reality as long as you want, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. And so what happened here is there was this quote upgrade, I'll say, to the signature scheme that the chain uses, known as Taproot, in 2021, that left a tiny crack open in the window, and now mosquitoes are flying through and they're buzzing around, and people are like, what do we do with it? And so essentially, as a kludge to enable more data to fit within the 1 megabyte block space. Remember, it became something of a religious thing. Oh, we can never go above a 1 minute block time. That's sacrosanct. People misunderstand scarcity and immutability. These are, I was going to say quasi-religious, but they've become actual religious, sort of like, the one part of the tribe hates the other part of the tribe type of vitriol within what used to be one formerly whole united Bitcoin community. This is why we have Bitcoin SV and Bitcoin Cash, both of which have adopted bigger blocks as a way around scaling. And so Bitcoin Core said, we're going to keep the 1 megabyte blocks, but we're going to change the signature scheme that basically makes it cheaper to sign. It reminds me a lot of the Ethereum. Oh, we're just going to go from proof of work to proof of stake, and the energy cost is going to go down by 99.99%. There's going to be no consequences. It's going to be great. So it works for now, but taking security from 51% attack down to 34% attack, and making it so the founder, Vitalik, says that Circle has the ability, just matter of factly, he said last year, Circle has the ability to determine the development direction of the Ethereum network in any future hard forks, and they do. I'm not sure they meant to give up that power. And so here we're seeing unintended consequences in action. We'll get to the social scene on Twitter and what people are talking about at the end here, but let's start with the raw facts. So what can you do with ordinals? What you can do with ordinals is you can take advantage of that cheaper signature scheme. It used to be sats per byte. Now it's sats per virtual byte or weighting. And essentially you can put whatever you want in the chain. So that user decided to post a picture of that gentleman exposing his intestines in a very vivid way. Also, you can see here, this is an audio recording of a fart. So that's fun. You can also see that it has malware. So if you open up a browser and you don't have your settings wrong, it can download JavaScript code. So there's malware in there. And also this single transaction, which look, wow, how cheap it was to take it so that instead of, okay, so this single transaction filled the whole block. So you can see 774,629. There were 3,452 transactions. And then this guy filled up 3.94 megabytes of the 4 megabytes of space with his single transaction, for which he paid the privilege of precisely, apparently nothing. I don't know how that works. I assume he paid something, but this is an unintended consequence of that attempting to cheap out on the signature scheme. And so instead of 3,400, 3,300, 3,100 transactions, 63. Now you got to wait. So those 3,000 people had their transactions take 10 minutes longer to get into the next block. Now what's happening?
And this would, forgive me, but if it took that much space, that's just going to, unregulated, this is just going to bloat the blockchain like crazy, right? I mean, it's just going to be like steroids.
Yeah. So this is the block sizes over the past 3 months. It used to be 1.5 megabytes, and now it's 3.5 megabytes. So the BTC blockchain is already 450 gigs. Ours is 4.1, by the way. We have something known as cut through, where all the offsetting, we have coin join and cut through. So when you do a transaction, all transactions are merged with every other transaction. And if I send to you and you send to Sky and he sends it to me, and we just do that 1,000 times in the block, if it's going to go, okay, 1 coin here, plus 1 there, minus 1 there, it's just a tiny incremental change in the data. BTC doesn't do that. So
is that just because I'm a visual guy, that just reminds me of, remember Indiana Jones, where that one dude came out with this sword, or the nunchucks or whatever, and he was just doing all of those fancy moves behind his back and through his legs and everything. Then Indiana Jones just comes out with coin join and cut through and points his gun and boom, transaction complete. Right?
Yeah, that's why people have such a hard time understanding what we're doing, is because paradigm shifts are so shocking. And it's mainly a failure of imagination. I can't imagine how it would ever be different than today. So your mind is just close to the possibilities. So it is very cost effective to bloat the BTC blockchain with whatever you want. I read that over 50% of what people are writing to the BTC blockchain needs to be filtered because it's not suitable for people who aren't into disgusting stuff. Yep. And also, so right now, let's call it 500 gigs. That chain's going to be multiple terabytes soon. So now, instead of home users running nodes, you're into data centers and hosting, and you need beefier hardware. I mean, there was an article in Bitcoin Magazine saying that the cost to run a Bitcoin node, Bitcoin Core node in Nigeria costs between $400 and $800, which is a lot of money for Nigeria. You can do it on a simple laptop that costs $20 with Epic, and pretty soon that'll be within reach of smartphones as well. So unintended consequences, the chain is bloating with people who are essentially free riding, getting cheaper access to store a lot of data cheaply, that pushes the cost of legitimate, or let's say, quote, legitimate transactions up, and slowing them down. So if you're doing transactions on this chain, you are paying more and your transactions are happening slower.
Is it safe to say that, let's say that somebody put, you know, a video up there, a video of some movie or something. Is it safe to say then, now that it is permanently recorded on the Bitcoin BTC blockchain, that because it's a surveillance chain, that everybody will be able to see that movie? Mm-hmm. And so everybody will be able to, and sorry, everyone, I'm just going real here. Everybody will be able to see perhaps minor porn, or, you know,
every node every node around the world from today is now downloading all of this stuff, whether it wants to or not. And there's no way to turn it off.
Now,
That's the thing that that impressed me the most when I read that article, was not only the bloat of the chain, but the fact that the chain is now not only corrupted with tainted coins, but it's corrupted with entire blocks. And I'm sure our good friends at you know, the mother weffers that are looking to get their CDBC going are just waiting for a good excuse to eliminate their competition. And I'm sure they're going to use the old one apple rotten spoils the whole bushel, and say, now that the blockchain is corrupted with, you know, kiddie porn and
malware,
you know, human trafficking and all this crap, they're just going to say the whole blockchain is corrupted and it's going to be shut down.
That's why I titled it, could this be the death nail in BTC's? I'm not trying to use rhetoric there, but I do have a difficult question for you, Max. Okay, so
bring it.
We took 98% of the good from Bitcoin protocol. Tell me why this same thing could not happen to Epic Cash's blockchain.
Because BTC is transparent and we are private. So you can, if you can figure out a way to store goat porn in there, as long as you pay the fee, more power to you. But you and your sender are the only, and the receiver are the only people who are going to be able to see that. So that's what solves it. The same privacy that protects our transactions protects against graffiti and malicious intent.
And that's because we're encrypted. Yeah. So back to the email analogy, it would be like the difference between sending something via Gmail that could be surveilled for sure versus through Proton Mail. Is that correct? Where Proton Mail, it's just sender and receiver?
No, Proton Mail is surveillance too. That's a common misconception. Yeah,
okay.
It's just different people.
Give me another analogy that people might be able to
imagine if you PGP encrypted your email.
Okay, I don't know a PGP encrypted.
Pretty good privacy. So imagine if you encrypt the contents of your email. So like you can tell that the data is there, you can tell that it's valid, you can tell that something happened, but you can't peek inside it. So on the BTC blockchain, you can say, look, this goat porn is there. On the Epic blockchain, you can say, there's this 30 kilobytes of data. What's on there? I don't know.
But couldn't somebody come in and bloat our blockchain by adding?
No.
I just finished the series Resurrection Etegral. It's a series from Turkey that took me like literally a year to get through. And if somebody put season 1 through 5 there, that would be a huge file.
Well, I mean, we've actually been looking at ways to store data on purpose with intent. One man's bug is another man's feature in the chain. So Kayaba, if you're listening, shout out. Thank you for helping us think that through. We think it's actually really exciting to be able to store data, both encrypted and public. Our chain, our answer to what's happening here in terms of making permanent data storage on a scalable blockchain that doesn't have to do double duty for payments is called E0. So we're watching this very intently. But cut through changes the game. Scalability of Mimblewimble changes the game, and we are not dogmatically, rigidly, small-mindedly, self-limitingly saying that we have to stay within the original parameters of what Satoshi created in 2009. If they said we're going to take the blocks bigger, then okay, you work it, girl. Yes, you're going to have less home node runners, but already you kind of do. I think this just reveals the hypocrisy and muddled thinking of the high priests of the Orange Coin cult.
This is truly a big deal. I mean, it like went from just nowhere in my hemisphere to
yeah.
I'm starting to comprehend it. I'm like, wow, this is
right.
Yes.
And why aren't more people talking about it? Well, they are. We'll get to that in a sec. So what's happening in terms of practical impact on the chain? So the minimum fee that the network would accept was 1 Satoshi per virtual byte. And now nodes are dropping those minimum fee transactions. So if your use case depended on sending a transaction and just kind of, it doesn't matter when it goes, it just matters that it goes, it'll get there eventually. There's always been that spare capacity. Now you got to do 2 instead of 1. So everybody that has ever written code that depends on that system being a certain way has to go and update that, or else their transaction just isn't going to get through. So we're experiencing a service degradation for the payment and money use case, because people are excited about inscribing data in here. Now, what is that leading to? So we're saying this guy, Luke Dash Jr., one of the original OG devs, is saying, oh, this is lying and tricking the code. Are you trolling or just stupid? Is this an exploit? Is this on purpose? People are really fighting about it. And Jimmy Song, Mr. Hoddle, I don't know if that's the same very delightful gentleman that participated in the Jason Williams gang rape from 2021. Maybe it's a different Hoddle. But anyway, he's saying, I think we should censor this. Let's do this. And then you have Jimmy Song, another beautiful, lovely human being, saying Luxor will be punished by the market. Just watch. So mining pools that don't get with the program and try and fight back against this quote unauthorized use that people don't like are fighting back. So Bitcoin is saving, says marginalized peoples in developing countries will have to pay more to run their Bitcoin nodes and send transactions, because get this, privileged wealthy whites want to put JPEG drawings on the blockchain as status symbols. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Shame on you. Jeez. So the Orange Coin camp is experiencing some discord, and people are going, oh my God, what do we do with this? So whether it's filling the block with a single transaction that doesn't really carry its weight economically, or pushing transactions off, or now putting everyone who hosts a Bitcoin Core node in the position of unknowingly being a purveyor of disgusting stuff that may well be illegal where they are, I think we're going to see a dramatic decline in the number of nodes. Last I checked, it was 15,000. Get this, the Bitcoin Core network has nodes in 90 countries. We have 129.
Nice.
So they still have more than us. They have 15,000. We have, let's call it, probably 5 if I had to guess. There's been 10,000 that we've seen ever, but some pop in and out. So let's call it 5 today. So they're about triple ahead. But let's say they go from 15 down to 10. We can have more nodes, not just more country coverage, which we already have by 40%, but more, or 44%, but more actual nodes within a few months because of this. So they're basically taking themselves off the playing field. I think I'm going to name my firstborn daughter Ordinal.
Don't you dare. I like what Sky King was suggesting about this could be what the wefers are gonna like point to and just say, look, for your protection, it's just 2 weeks to stop the spread. We need to quarantine this blockchain. I don't know. It's
the laws are already on the books. You can't be transmitting child sex abuse exploitative material. So saying I'm ignorant and I don't know that that's happening is no excuse. Now you could say, well, are they going to come after me? Probably not. But if they want to, now you've given them a reason.
Meaning someone operating a node?
So if I'm operating a node, I am storing everything that anyone has ever written into the Bitcoin Core blockchain.
So you are storing Goatsee's moonshot.
Remember, of those 100,000, approximately half have needed to be filtered and censored from the ordinals website because they're not suitable for people to listen to or to look at. Also, malware. So the JavaScript, imagine all kinds of attacks. I mean, this is really a Pandora's box. And also the social implications, because usually the orange Kool-Aid drinkers with the laser eyes are pretty monolithic. You know, yay, let's all agree with each other as emphatically as we can. All you have to do is just buy and hodl and turn your brain off and buy my bags, and then life will be great. Well, now like some subset is saying, hey guys, this isn't quite so great. We have a problem here. And then they're getting shouted down and marginalized. So the same cultural forces that have led a steady stream of people to abandon the orange coin camp and come to other coins, you know, Monero first when they're seeking privacy, and now to us when they're seeking scalability and fungibility and genuine solutions to, you know, polyphasic proof of work to solve the energy issue and the e-waste stuff and future proofing and quantum resistance. People have been happy with the way it was and not really open to seeking alternatives, not understanding why are you guys even bothering. Just, I mean, Saifedean Ammous and Robert Breedlove told me on the DNA of Bitcoin, you are such a moron. You just should, you know, shut that thing down and just, you know, cast your lot in with us because we've already won. Well, no, actually you haven't. In your arrogance, pride goeth before the fall, and they're hoisting themselves on their own petard, and it's a wonderful thing to see.
Wow. Well, this has been very informative. If you wouldn't mind stopping your screen share. Sky King, thank you for joining us. It looks like we're at an hour. Sky King, is there anything else that you wanted to cover that we haven't or that we should reschedule?
We've got a lot of irons in the fire. There's lots of development work going on in the background. Everybody realizes that with the coming coin store and Change Now listings that our user base is about to explode and go exponential, and we are pedaling as fast as we can to make sure the foundation, the concrete in the foundation has cured, and we are ready to start framing the building.
That's awesome. And by the way, super big props, shout out to the Epic Cash community, the ones who donated and helped us. You know, we're still a little ways from funding the liquidity on Change Now, but we're getting closer. And also we found out that it's Gardaria, Max. Gardarian. Sorry. That's going to be the very important crypto, fiat on-ramp and off-ramp, getting money out of your bank into the exchanges and then back out into your bank account. So that ended up, their listing fee is usually 30 grand, and Change Now said that once we're integrated, they can do a lot of things behind the scenes to make it closer to 12,500 to 15,000. So at that point in time, you know, we will pass the hat again, but that should be a raise that we take care of in about an hour. And it's going to be the last piece of the puzzle to make this thing just awesome. But if you are out there and you have not yet donated, please reach out to L_McMurphy within Telegram, and whatever crypto you have, if you want to send fiat, USDT, Epic, whatever, it's like, you said it, Sky King. You said game changer, that our user base is about to explode. You're a pretty smart guy. I mean, are you saying that just to hear yourself talk, or do you really believe that?
I think with the ease of being able to do transactions now between the desktop and the mobiles, and also having the mobiles be able to talk back and forth with the exchange is plural.
Yeah.
That this opens the way for adoption, and there's the sky's the limit, because the
Yeah.
way it has been in the past, we had barriers to that adoption just because, as Max was saying, it was a multi-step kind of difficult process for new people coming in and trying to make it work. But now that's all going away. In fact, here's a hot off the presses of the last 5 minutes. We will be starting testing on the mobile Epic Box wallets tomorrow.
Wow.
And
That's
you know
amazing.
what also just shipped in 332. Shout out to Todd's guys down in Brazil. I haven't really heard any fanfare on this, so it kind of just slipped in there unnoticed. But I think this is really super exciting, is the ability to send Epic transactions as emojis back and forth. So they're a bit long. It's about 1,400 emojis that it takes to encapsulate the data. We're finding ways to shrink that down. But imagine you're doing a live stream, Uncle V, and you're doing you're streaming those emojis on the screen, and then whoever's watching can take those and then talk back to you through the chat with their own emojis, and then you basically like changed the way of monetizing content through micropayments. Imagine the possibilities of that. Yeah. So not like everybody's going to be manually copy pasting 1,400 emojis, but imagine putting that behind the scenes into new types of apps and new types of revenue models for developers. I mean, I probably bought 500, if not 1,000 Kindle books over the years on my Amazon app. And the other day, the app said, sorry, you can't buy books anymore. You got to go to the Amazon website and buy them. I'm like, huh, this is really weird. And then I started doing a little digging, and it's because Google wants their cut of the books, and Google doesn't want to pay it to Amazon, so they're the customers in the middle. Also, a lot of crypto projects, if they include a gas fee, as an example, Apple wants 30% of the gas. So they're saying, oh, well, you just can't do that functionality. I think it was the Coinbase wallet or something. And so our unique model that cuts around that friction and puts the power back in people's hands is really something quite profound. And so we promised in the white paper, it says at the very bottom of epic.tech white paper epic.tech/white paper from 2019, it says store of value, medium of exchange, unit of account, and that's the progression. So we built a good store of value with 21 million fixed supply that can resist inflation through the halvings. The next one is 4 months away, by the way. And because we kept making it easier to use, it started to develop an independent utility and use case and adoption organically as a medium of exchange. Things like QR codes in Turkish cell phone stores, as people discover they can send peer-to-peer payments through Vite inside of a second for free. And now with Epic Pay and the GUI wallet and emoji transactions and stitching all this stuff together. So we store a value box, check, medium of exchange box, getting there. And the next phase, I was explaining this to the guys in Nigeria today, who very hearteningly kind of intuitively get it in a way that those of us in places with more functional commercial systems and financial systems and rule of law kind of don't get at first, is that really we talk about each one of the 21 million slots on the Epic chain as a coin, and that's a useful metaphor. But really what you're talking about is real estate. Just like they're not making any more land, so real estate people will tell you it's always a good investment, and it usually is over time because population grows. There's only 21 million slots on our ledger, and people are increasingly starting to think in terms of, well, what, I don't care how many dollars I have because I don't plan to sell them soon anyway, but what percentage of this very special network can I get before that land grab comes in? And so store of value, medium of exchange, unit of account. And that's before EUSD, before EMPL, before ECR, before E1, before EON, before all this other stuff that's coming. Incidentally, I've been super busy because the subway map, I mean, I originally thought that it would be a 5-10 year product plan to even, start working on some of these things 2-3 years from now. And I find myself working on them sooner because they're needed. So with ChatGPT, with BTC potentially facing a collapse scenario and a complete failure, Ethereum has shot itself in the foot. DAI has castrated itself by getting into bed with Circle. I mean, I'm amazed. I thought everybody and their brother would be building on Mimblewimble and seeing the same obvious things that we saw years ago, but they really haven't. And you can't start this stuff overnight. So I've never been more optimistic about where we are now, and everyone listening should be too.
And we're still under 50 cents, everyone. So the world doesn't know about us yet, but soon they will. So, well, I'm going to save this for another, but I think there's a buying strategy on Epic Cash that I suggested to Jim. I'd like to come on and be a guest, because I think a lot of all of the smart traders out there that are just putting in these stink bids, they just don't get the notion that a rising tide lifts all ships. Momentum breeds momentum. And another topic for another day, but I'm pretty passionate about it, so you'll hear my opinion. Okay, well, this has been fantastic. Thank you for the update, Sky and Max. Thank you for the education on ordinals. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for coming in. This went a little longer than normal, but who cares, man? It was awesome. So come back Friday. And by the way, Friday is going to be kind of fun. It's going to be dedicated to a gentleman from Australia who has a lot of newbie type questions. And I listened to him on another podcast trying to talk crypto with another person who really doesn't know crypto, and they were kind of answering each other's questions wrongly. And so I reached out to him and I'm like, how about come on my show? I'll get Max Freeman on, and no question is foolish, too stupid, or anything. Just ask them, bring them. And so Frank is going to join us on Friday, and Max is going to field questions. And if there's anybody else out there with newbie type questions, look, that's how this channel started, was me being a newbie and just documenting my journey into crypto, which led me quickly to Epic Cash, and I haven't looked back since. But I'm really looking forward to Friday, so I hope to see you guys all there. So with that, I'm just going to say have a great Wednesday afternoon, evening, or wherever you are in the world, and cheers.